First off, I suppose Graham Cummins unavailable for Friday. You saw the incident on Friday, you've seen the incident in Soccer Republic now, I assume. What's your view on his sending off?
I suppose the first thing is that, it's always difficult for referees because they just see it, and between them and the linesman they have to decide. Obviously, we were shocked. We certainly didn't think it was a card at all. But on the night, a red card, and obviously we have our own video as well. But look, I think in hindsight, I think everyone can see that it probably didn't even warrant the card. So I suppose we have the appeal tomorrow, so we have to go to that, and we just hope that it's no more than a one match. I think in the rules they within the league state you have to serve a one match for a red card immediately. So which is disappointing because it's probably a rule that needs to be adjusted if there's a clear error after we made. So we wait and see, but certainly from our own point of view, even on the night we were extremely disappointed with the decision, but look, we'll deal with that tomorrow.
So would you be reasonably confident it would be just the one game?
Well, you don't know. You're reasonably confident. It's when you go to independent tribunals, it's hard to gauge, and but I think if common sense applies with the video evidence that we've had, what's on TV last night with what people have said, I think everyone can see. Look, if that's the scenario, I think every match you'd have 5 or 6 fellas sent off if this fella's jumping for headers. So it was quite clear that there was absolutely no intent, even if there was contact. So we'll just wait and see.
And barring Graham, is there anyone else out for Friday? Or
at the moment we have a few knocks. Conor McCarthy has a knock. Gerard Morrissey has a knock. So we'll assess them closer. Gary Buckley has just come back in training, so maybe Friday might be too soon for him, but Josh O'Hanlon won't be involved. So from that point of view, we'll just assess the other lads close to the game.
Yeah, and Munster Derby in front of the pack, Turner's Cross, is a very appealing prospect, isn't it?
It is, it's great, and Waterford had a really good win last week, and they've assembled a really strong team. Obviously, we know Kenny Brown from with us here, Gavin Hoolan, 2 exceptionally good players were involved with us when we won the Cup in 2016. But outside of that, they've brought in Bastian Heary, Paul Keegan, very experienced, strong players. Akinad obviously up front, so we all know about him with Bose, and but they've also brought in a few foreign players as well. So they have a good mix to their team. They're very strong, very physical. So I suppose it's great for us. The fact that the season has started, and for the first couple of games with the President's Cup in the league, we've been away, so it's great to be back to Turner's Cross, our home venue, and we haven't seen our supporters since the league presentation against Bray, so in a home game, so it's great to be looking forward to a full house, and we need a massive atmosphere because looking at their game against Derry last week, Waterford were really good. They were very strong, they were physically very strong, and we need to be on our game because we're there to be knocked, and we need to play at high intensity, and obviously I presume Waterford will try and stop that, so we have to be on our game for that.
John, you had a keeper, 5 defenders and a midfielder on the bench on Friday night, and then obviously with Josh out and Graham is in for as well.
Yeah.
Does that kind of change the landscape in terms of the need to bring in someone up front before Thursday?
Well, it's a scenario where I suppose you can look at it a couple of ways. We can look at we have Toby who can play, who's come to the club. He was a right winger. He ended up right back with Sligo. Can give us options there. We have Garrod, he came off the bench as midfielder. Danny has played in midfield for us. But ultimately, a lot of the guys are defensive guys. So but Gary's around the corner, should be back for Sligo. So it's one of those situations where it's unfortunate Josh is out. He'll be back probably in about 10 days. And it's no different than last year when we were played in Europe with Conor McCormack. you can have your best plans. You have to work in with a budget. That's your squad. But if you allow that, out of 2 or 3 out of 3 centre forwards, 2 of them one gets injured, one gets an unfortunate red. You know, that's just the way we had the problem in Europe last year. With problem at right back with a number of injuries with Johnny DeLevy, with a problem with centre back with Conor McCormick had to play, with Johnny being out and Benno being out. And it's just unfortunate you end up with someone that in the same position, but you just have to get on and deal with it. And we generally don't make excuses. We just have to get on and deal with it. I think the main thing, what people have seen is that, you know, we're a team that are creating chances. We've got some great goals, and we expected this year that we'd have more goals within our team and around our team. And the early indications are that that's happening. And I suppose you look at that, we've scored 7 in 2 away games, and shows that we have fellas who are getting goals. So hopefully that'll continue.
So we shouldn't be expecting any business in the next 48 hours, then?
Well, it's a scenario where, you know, there's loads of opportunities and offers out there. But everything is well out of our budget, and it's possible we might do something within the next 24 hours, but it certainly won't be more loan, someone coming in addition to our squad as opposed to someone being the main man taking over from Graham Cummins or something like that.
John, obviously Robert Harvey was doing the game last Friday. He was obviously from Dublin. You had Neil Doyle, who did the game when Alan Bennett was sent off against Rovers, also from Dublin. Like, do you think it's acceptable in this day and age to have referees from Dublin doing Dublin games, considering there's a kind of a spread now around the country?
Don't even think about it, to be fair. I think the quality and standard of the referees in the league since I've come into the league have been very, very good. I think there's a lot of top quality referees. I think sometimes if you just get it wrong, you know, sometimes you're better off in hindsight afterwards, maybe just saying you get the decision wrong. We all make mistakes, managers make mistakes, players make mistakes, and ultimately a referee or a linesman. So you know, I never even thought about it that way, and it doesn't really concern me because I think the quality of the referees in the league have been good and they've been very consistent. And you'll always have 1 or 2 decisions, but over the 4 years that I've been the manager here, you know, the only times we've lost games is because we haven't been good enough or haven't played well. So, you know.
Does that, with Graham being out, does that change the way you have to play in terms of, I know Paul's talked about bringing a guy in, but if you're not bringing somebody in, does that change how your team plays on Friday?
I don't know. I think that we have progressed the team over the last number of years, as people can see, and we've progressed it more again this year with the type of players we've brought in. And I think the early indications are that we've got some absolutely fantastic goals, fantastic moves, passings, great goals in both games, and we've got goals from different areas of the park, which we said from the outset we hope that can happen this year. And so I'm hoping that will continue on Friday night.
John, how different the challenges are on Friday coming back to the Cross after a couple of away games, you know, where the home team is kind of expected to take the game to a bit more, expecting Waterford maybe to set up to stop you first of all, and does that kind of mean that you have to be more patient?
Absolutely, no, there's no doubt about that, but I think that'll be a trend for this season. That, you know, I think there's no doubt teams are definitely going to come to Turner's Cross and are going to pack the defence, play on the counter, and I think you'll see a scenario where with Waterford that basically, you know, they'll keep things solid and tight, play with Akinad and O'Halloran up top, and try and cause us problems. So it's not only going to be this week, but obviously teams are going to be like that. So from that point of view, you know, it's crucial this year at home with big crowds or supporters that you just can't. It's not going to be a situation that both teams are going to have a go off each other. That's not going to happen. You know, most teams come down here are going to keep things very tight, and we have to be patient. We have to move the ball quickly, and I suppose that's why we think we have a lot more creative in our team, a lot more players who can create the opportunities. And but it's certainly you know, it's just important that everyone is on side, our supporters on side, they stay with us no matter what happens, because ultimately that's the difference. You know, when you look back in last year, from the stands, the encouragement the players got and the atmosphere certainly is intimidating when we're all buzzing together. So the last thing you need is that you know, anyone to walk in and think that, you know what I mean, that you're going to be ahead straight early in the game or anything like that. These things won't happen, and you need to be patient, and that's going to be a thing that we're all going to have to adapt to this year.
John, it's obviously early days, but do you prepare the team any differently for the derby? It's Munster derby, and really, Waterford apparently going to have a huge crowd travelling as well. The away supporters going to have to be I would think.
Yeah, but I suppose like when Rovers come down here, they bring a huge crowd, and Dock bring a huge crowd, you know. So I don't, you know, I know it's a Munster, I think, and it's a Munster like my derby. Is it really a derby? You know, in terms of, yeah, they're a Munster, but they've been up for the first time in 10 years, and we haven't played each other too often, you know. So you know, I suppose on paper it's called a derby, but I think, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, I think, you know, a lot of the other clubs also bring massive support to Cork. So for us, to me, it's just another League of Ireland game. It's going to be a massive league this year. It's going to be points dropped, you know, because obviously the familiarity between teams and the fact you play each other 4 times. So I just think that, you know, that the quality of the teams have got better. They've invested more. So I think there isn't the gaps that would have been there in other years. So from that point of view, I think games are going to be much tighter, and early results have shown that, even though it's only one game. So so from that point of view, I just feel that it's, you know, first game at home, another 3 points. But, you know, they're going to do what they can to stop us, and we have to be on our A game to see can you get a result.
John, just a word on Ryan Delaney, obviously involved in a huge occasion there at the weekend. Do you think Ryan is kind of a perfect example of, you know, the young players why it's you know, it might be beneficial to stay in the League of Ireland for as long as he can? Obviously he went up to Portland and came back. I mean, if he didn't have the year here last year, the likelihood is that he could be still sitting in the reserves in Burton, and now he's, you know, he's gone off to Wembley to play against Harry Kane next week. Like, yeah. Perfect example of what the League of Ireland can do to launch the career of a player. Yeah, well, that's the thing, and that's what, you know, the biggest problem with a lot of young players that come back from England is that they don't have the attitude, because they feel they're better than what they are, and they get lost and they never come again. You know, we've had several examples of guys that have come back out of England that, you know, in 19, 20, 21, and, you know, in lots of cases people have told them that they failed, they haven't made it, and before their career ever starts they're gone, and that's all over, not only all over Ireland, it's all over Cork. So and this is always a challenge when you bring fellas in from England. They underestimate the standard that's here, and you know, and you know, even, you know, you ask players, are you better off playing in Europe every year? You're better off playing one game maybe that should have been a luck to get to Wembley, you know. So you know, sort of, you know, is it nice to be playing Champions League maybe every year, and, you know, as Europe football, it's a massive occasion. But to answer your question, it is great for young fellas to come back. But if fellas come back here and their attitude is right, and they see it as a stepping stone to get themselves going again, absolutely. But, you know, it's, and Ryan was a case in point, because there is no doubt if he didn't come up here, there's no chance that he'd be where he is now, absolutely. So and we're delighted for him. It was great for him to get the equaliser. Great for the lads, you know, because of what he's done. But to be fair to Ryan, even when he came in last year, there was no question in his head. He was a fantastic person, great attitude, really wanted it. And you know, whether he was going to be here with Cork City for another 2 or 3 years or not, or go back, whatever the situation was, he was giving himself every opportunity to be the best he could be. And you admire a guy like that. And you know, as I keep saying, the guys like that come back from across at that age, the opportunity here is massive if they can hold their heads. But unfortunately, too many of them don't apply themselves in the right way. And maybe a lot of it also as well, Paul, to be honest with you, a lot of them come back and they've been on very big contracts, which is also difficult. You know, they've been spoiled. They've ended up with contracts at 17, 18, 19 that could be maybe 4 times what they're going to get over here. And they've no value of money, and they've no appreciation of money, and in a lot of cases that's maybe mentally why a lot of them don't come back or come through here, because they've lost their heads, and it's difficult, and there isn't much support out there for those type of guys. So, you know, as we keep saying in our club here, that when we bring in guys like that from across, you know, Danny Kane has come in from Huddersfield as well, is saying that there's no guarantees. You know, you have to be able to step up to the mark, you have to be able to run through the wall, you have to have the attitude that you can make sure that you can deliver and come back, and you can only give them the environment to do that, but after that it's up to themselves, and that's why unfortunately a lot of fellas don't even come through. But Ryan is a great case in point, and hopefully we'll have more of those guys.
John, just the last 2 weeks, obviously go back from behind against Dundalk and then put out 10 men and being St. Pat's. For new players coming in, what does that do for squad togetherness, and how, what kind of impact has that had on the squad morale for guys that are just coming in?
Well, there's no question about morale or anything in this club. Everyone in this club is modest, is humble, and they work extremely hard. And generally speaking, when you apply that philosophy, if you have any bit of skill, then you have a chance of winning trophies. So every fella that's come into us from the outside has come in because they want to win trophies. I always say the difference is that when you come from clubs that you haven't won, are you consistent? Can you play under pressure? And all the boys have come into us, just lovely guys who just want the attitude, and time will tell. But early days have shown that they've trained brilliantly. There's no egos in this area, and so from that point of view, early indications are showing that the guys are really want to stand up and be counted. And certainly when you're in St. Pat's 2-all, 40 seconds in the second half, down to 10 men, as I said, you can hide, or you can roll your sleeves up and see, can we dig out a result? And ultimately, that's what they did. So that's a good test of their character and what they're about. So from that point of view, we're happy enough.